Ahoy, friends. Welcome to Building the Alpha Dory. I'm Dan. This is a project to build a Chamberlain racing dory from John Gardner's The Dory Book. Illustrations by Sam Manning. Today we'll be out in the shop working on the rails. See you out there. So it's kind of a wet, damp day out here. Temperatures in the 30s. So you may recognize this board from previous episodes. It's one that we got the shear planks out of. So there's still some good wood left in it, and I think it'll do some of the rails that we're going to be working on. Got it out from under the wood pile. Looks like some snow got in there. The cover blew off last storm. It's starting to melt. Okay, so first thing to do is set this board. See what parts of it we can use to make what parts of the rails. So it's the right thickness already, 1 inch thick, so we won't have to adjust that much until we get it installed in the boat. Then we can plane everything smooth. There's a knot and another old knot on this end of the board, so we know we don't want to include this in the rail right here, so yeah, let's cut this back, and then we can move the board up to pretty much where it's going to go, and we can actually start tracing the blocking to go right into those rails. Okay, so let's see, we got 6 foot 10 inches there. And we need about 5 foot 10 inches. So what I'll do is kind of with an eye to where any knots are that I don't want to include in the rail piece. I'll just trace the shape of the garboard onto this plank right here. And I can actually do that on the outside because it's the same shape as the inside of the plank. It's just that much easier to run a pencil along the outside here, which is easily accessible. You can get at easily. And then I'll also jot a quick mark as to where I'm hitting the frame at the moment. Now it's going to change a little bit because I've got to fit this end into the stem. And then I'll also jot a little mark where I'm hitting the stem here. Now since I drew it to the outside of the plank, this is the plank width wider than I need to be. But since this is sort of a rough fit at the moment, that's not a big deal. And yeah, now I'll see what I've got left of the plank, see if I can get another one out of this or not. Ooh, doesn't look like I'm going to, not with that knot there. So next thing to do is to put a straight edge on this. And I'm going from where the frame ends, the width of the frame, to the width of the stem mark that I put. And yeah, I'll go cut this out on the bandsaw. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to be able to avoid most of this knot when we're putting the piece in the boat, because so it gets cut on the bandsaw and then it actually gets cut cut again once I got it on the boat. I'll strike a line along the inside and cut the inside curve on the rail. So, but I think we're going to be able to avoid that, and we'll check it out as we go. But yeah, let's get this cut and see if it'll fit. So we got some scraps here, which may just be big enough to make some more blocking out of. I'm not sure. It may end up in the floorboards. But instead, and tons. Yeah, looks like it's probably floorboard material. Alright, so with the blocking rough cut, with a good line on it though, it's the line we drew is a good one. So what I want to do is clamp it on the bench. Clamp it so you can see the line I drew, which apparently I had it the other way around. maybe I'll move that bench here down, so it'll carry the end of it down here as opposed to move it to the point where I want it here with my plane though. Alright, so with it on the bench, now I'll just clean this up. And we know that we know already that the shear straight is a nice fair curve. So first thing I'm going to do is take the wiggles out of this so that this will follow the curve of the shear straight. Then I'll go put it on the boat and mark the bevel on it. Because especially up at the bow where this board is going, there's some twist induced between the first frame and the stem. So to get a nice close fit, we're going to have to cut some bevel into this as well as curvature. And there goes the knot that's not going to end up in the final rail anyway. Okay, so next thing we want to do is cut this kind of closer, at least to length. So I'll probably take an inch or so off the end there and get away from this knot as well. You can see there's a little knot in the end there. So this will bring it down closer to its final length. I'm going to leave the end long down here, and then this the cut at the frame will be the final cut we make, because that is by far the easiest cut. So we'll get everything just so, everything else, and then we'll cut that. At the frame. Let's see how that fits. Yes, looks like I need to take off another. Actually, could be good right where it is. I could take off another 3 or 4 inches off the end there though. And the curve is looking pretty good. It looks like I'm going to need to take off a little bit more up at the end. Yeah, so here's what I'm looking at. The curvature there down along. So we got pretty close, you can see. I'm going to try and get that a little bit closer though, and then what I'm doing is I'm putting the frame piece square to the top of the frame, which is square to the plank at this point. And then you can see that the plank rolls as it gets out towards the bow, and you can see how far the board is standing off at the bow. So that's the amount of bevel that we need to put into the board off of square. So what I can do is grab my bevel square and got it, and just and get close to that bevel by putting this on the other square face, and then matching the plane of the plank to the plane of the bevel square, which is about that. So you can see we're about that far off of square. So this will allow me to check that bevel as I'm planing it. This is, what I need to end up at when I'm to the end of the board here. And this is a little high because it's up on the frame. And then the other thing is we want the board to come in and land right at the corner of the stem. And we'll be able to mark that once we've got this bevel cut here. And while we're cutting that bevel, we'll also be able to bring in this curvature a bit. So let's get it back to the bench and get planing. So here's the bevel that I need to go to. And a little trick that I could do is cut that in. So the saw. And then check it with the square. And that'll be a little bit of a gauge as I'm playing along as to whether I'm getting close at least. And what I want to do is kind of roll that bubble out as I come up here. Check, see? Yeah, so I'm definitely got plenty of a bevel on there. Another question is, have I put enough of a curve into it? Because she was a little lacking as far as the curvature. What I'll do is I'll put it back on the boat and check that, double check that curve. So at this point I got the board back on the boat, and what I'll do is I'll take my pencil, and I've got the board in just the perfect spot at the stern and just the perfect spot at the bow. I've got a bit of an overhang here, so that's where the curve isn't quite right. So with it in the perfect spot at bow and stern, I'll go back and trace the overhang. And now I know what I need to take off. I don't think I need to trace this down here because I don't think this is going to be on the boat. That's going to get cut off, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so you see not a lot to take off, it's just right here. I'll put that on the bench so that I can see the line. And we'll keep on fine-tuning it. Taking off enough here to make it worth going back to the bandsaw, but not quite enough. So might as well make some shavings. That's looking. Yeah, that's pretty close now. Okay, so the next thing to do is to trim the end so that it goes into the stem at the correct angle. I'll show you that now. So what we want is for this solid rail bow piece to fill in this little notch here in the stem area, lay in tight against the stem, and come back to the edge of the back face of the stem and then head back down along the boat. And then flat across the back face of the stem, there'll be a breast tuck, an oak breast tuck in here. So I've got a beautiful piece of wood to use for that. And then nails will go through the plank, through the solid rail and into the breast tuck, and everything will get held together that way. So what we want to do is we want to get this angle between the piece of wood and the stem starting right here, because then it'll be tight in when we shift it up in. And the way we can do that quite simply is just make sure we got the solid rail block lined up with you know, where it's going to go on the side of the boat, and then line the steel up with the stem and just strike that line starting at the corner where we want it to start. Now we know we got the right angle to get in there good and tight. Now there will also be a bevel angle because this is beveled, but we'll put that in with the plane. We'll sort of sneak up on that angle, and I might try and get a little bit close to it with the saw when I cut it, but yeah, let's get over to the workbench on the saw. Alright, so we got our box saw here, and these are wonderful little saws. Nice finish to them as well. Alright, so I'll snag the plane and put a little bit of the bevel on there. And we'll test fit it, see how close we are to alright bevel angle. Okay, so you can see we got a good angle on the cut, but we're going to need to bevel a fair amount more in order to get that to lay in tight. You can see we're parallel to the stem, so that's a good start, but we need to get more of a bevel on that to get it to go down in tight against the top of the stem. Alright, so that's a lot closer. Could go with a tiny bit more of a bevel. Just get that. You almost want the top a little bit tighter than the bottom, just because the top is where water would ingress, and the top is what is seen. Tight fit all around is ideal, and that looks like what we've got now. But so here we are. Got this piece fitted. Got the proper curve and a good bevel to match where the plank is laid out a bit more up here at the stem, and it comes a bit more vertical back here at the first frame. And then you can see where the first frame is. So the final job on this is going to be cutting this to length on the frame, now that we've got everything else fit, because this is in here tight. It's not, this distance isn't going to change anymore. As long as we're fine tuning this, the length of this board is shortening, and if we screwed up something here, we could cut it back here and have a second shot at it, as long as we got enough wood down here. So yeah, that's where we're at, and tune in next time for the exciting conclusion of the stem blocking. Thanks so much for stopping by Building the Alpha Dory. I'm considering, or I'm going to try going to 2 videos a week for a bit of time, and maybe a little bit longer videos. It seems like the YouTube algorithm may prefer that for watches, but anyway, a massive thank you to everyone who has liked, subscribed, supported the channel. Your support means we can keep on making these videos and just sharing the small boat adventures. So look forward to seeing you next video. Have a great day. Bye.